The following podcast may not be for all listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
The United States has some breathtaking sights, from Niagara Falls' roaring mist to Mount Rushmore's carved faces. Anyone can find a fantastic place to visit here in the U.S. That's exactly what a group of friends went off to find when a UFO abducted them. On a crisp August night in 1976, 4 friends embarked on what should have been a routine camping trip along Maine's Allagash waterway. Instead, Jack, Jim, Chuck, and Charlie became part of one of Maine's most compelling UFO encounters. It would be years before the full story emerged through hypnotic regression. All 4 men interviewed separately told this same haunting tale. This is Unexplained Realms. I'm Anne, and we are diving into the darkness that lurks above our skies. This is the story of the Allagash UFO abduction. Allagash, Maine is the home of the Allagash Wilderness Waterway. For 92 miles, these shadowy waters wind through the dark forests, their black surfaces reflecting nothing but wilderness and sky. Some come here to hunt or fish in waters older than memory. Others paddle silent canoes through the morning mist, camping on shores where no electric light has ever shone. In the summer of 1976, 4 friends planned a camping trip to Allagash, Maine. The group planned to camp in the very remote wilderness. Twin brothers Jack and Jim Weiner and their 2 friends, Charles Foltz and Charles Rack. They had planned a week-long adventure. The 4 friends had met at Massachusetts College of Art and Design and would soon begin their careers. A week-long camping trip seemed to be exactly what they needed to relax. The first day and night were quiet for the group, but by the second evening, one of the twin brothers saw what appeared to be a fully lit up aircraft of some sort. It was floating above the trees and not moving. Viewing the floating craft through binoculars, it appeared circular in shape, with various glowing lights on 4 quadrants of the bottom. The lights were different colors: white, yellow, red, and green. As quickly as it arrived, it exited in the same fashion, with the blink of an eye. The first sighting of this strange craft was dismissed as odd, but nothing to be concerned about. By the trip's 4th day, the entire group witnessed a strange craft in the sky. The incident occurred during a nighttime fishing trip. The group of friends took precautions by lighting a large fire on the shore to keep some light in the distance to find their way back. They then paddled their canoe out on Big Eagle Lake and began fishing. Aside from the fire on the shore, another light caught the group's attention. They saw a large round light that resembled the light they'd seen previously. The group witnessed the light grow brighter and illuminate the treetops, making the night look like day. During this time, their surroundings were silent. The group of men attempted to signal this strange light with a flashlight. Signaling an SOS message caused it to come directly towards the 4 men on the lake. The object appeared to be 80 feet in diameter, causing the men to panic. They began rowing the canoe to the shore as fast as they could. Jim's neck prickled with an inexplicable urge to turn around. When he did, his breath caught in his throat. There it was, hovering so close he could have hit it with a rock. The craft's surface seemed to drink in the darkness, yet somehow shimmer at the edges of his vision. Before he could process what he was seeing, the object shot away with impossible speed, leaving only a streak of light that faded into the star-filled sky. For a moment, Jim couldn't tell which point of light above was a star. When they stumbled back to shore, something wasn't right. The massive bonfire they'd left behind, the one that should be crackling and spitting sparks into the night sky, had been reduced to nothing but dying embers. Their faint orange glow barely visible in the darkness. It made no sense. A fire that size should have burned for hours. Yet they'd only been on the water for minutes. Too drained to make sense of it all, too shaken by what they'd witnessed, they retreated to their tents without a word. None of them slept well that night, their minds replaying the strange events that somehow seemed to bend time itself. The rest of this trip was uneventful. After that camping trip, all of the men went on to lead normal lives. They shared their story with family and friends, but nothing more ever came from the incident. Until 1988, when two of the men from the group began having very vivid and terrifying dreams. They would dream of being nude lying on a bench and feeling a sense of terror, always seeing a bright light above them and a shadowy figure. Comparing dreams made them realize they were having the same dream. Jim Weiner attended a UFO conference presented by Ray Fowler, Director of Investigations at Mutual UFO Network. He shared the story and the dreams. Ray Fowler believed they had been abducted, and the memories were slowly coming to the surface through dreams. The men decided to be placed under hypnosis. They wanted to recall if anything odd occurred during the 1976 camping trip. The hypnosis sessions were conducted by Anthony Constantino, who had hypnotized Ray Fowler to remember his own encounter. Each of the men were hypnotized at different times, as to not allow any interaction or discussions of the past. During the hypnosis, the men described being aboard a craft and in a lit room, surrounded by gray creatures with long necks and very large bald heads. Their fingers were very thin, almost skeletal, and eyes were sunken with no lids. The men described feeling bodily fluids being taken and what felt like tissue samples being performed with machines. Charles Foltz felt he had a very painful probe and scan with a shiny metallic machine. He stated he would scream in pain during this procedure. He remembered them saying, "Don't be afraid, and just do what we say." All of the men were artists and were able to sketch the room in which they described being in. All had told a very similar story when under hypnosis, and all had undergone polygraph tests, as well as psych evaluations, passing with flying colors. The hypnotist Anthony Constantino stated he was quite terrified during the men's accounts of what had happened. He believed and supported the four men's story. Ray Fowler, the UFO expert, supported the men's stories and went on to write a book about the incident, called the Allagash Abductions. Of course, every UFO abduction story is scrutinized and there are cracks exposed. And the Allagash incident was no different. When Charles Rack began to step away from researchers and no longer speak about the matter, it raised questions. The other 3 men continued to talk to researchers and tell the same story. But Charles Rack changed his tune. He claimed the lights they saw in the sky were very real, but the memories in the actual abduction were not true. He stated the 4 men were all high at the time and fabricated the story to make money. The other 3 men, Jack, Jim, and Charles Foltz, claimed they remember being abducted as a result of hypnotic regression. They also maintain that their polygraph tests show they are telling the truth. The 3 remaining men claim that Charles Rack had always had a bit of a temper and felt he was trying to profit from the story, and they did not wish to do that, which is what led him to say the story was false. Were the 4 men truly abducted in the Allagash Wilderness Waterway? Or was this all a hoax to gain attention as artists and make money? Perhaps we'll never know and have to leave this to the unexplained realms. What do you think? Was it all a big story made up, or is it true? I tend to believe the 3 of them were telling the truth. The dying of their campfire, which should have burned for hours longer, stands as kind of a testimony for maybe missing hours. The Allagash incident remains one of the most compelling cases in UFO history. Some might dismiss their story as a tale spun around a Maine campfire, but the consistency of their accounts over decades, backed by lie detector tests and haunting sketches, forces us to grapple with a more unsettling possibility. On that dark night in the Allagash Wilderness, something truly extraordinary may have occurred. Some say the truth is out there, but maybe it's already here. Keep watching the skies, my friends, and remember, sometimes the darkest mysteries aren't hidden in tombs or abandoned buildings. They're floating right above us in the night sky, waiting, watching,